Here. All right, you guys, welcome to our Team Everest call. It is the 22nd of September, and we've got 8 days left till the end of the month. So one of the topics that I think with what we've been doing in our Break Your Rank training, we've been talking about personal development, and we've been focusing in on not being afraid and dealing with those fears and moving forward and all this really great stuff. So I want to start putting it into more, tactile terms of things that you're going to actually use for your business, okay? So what we're going to talk about, instead of talking about fear or those kinds of things, we're actually going to talk about overcoming objections. And so I think that's going to be super important for all of us. So what I'm going to do, make sure you have some paper and a pen, notebook or whatever. And I have got seven. I have 7 different objections that are very, very common. And so we're going to hit on some ways that you can deal with that, okay? One of the things that I thought was interesting as I was looking for some training on this is I heard Steve Wire say, you know what? Even though you might think this is crazy, he said, if you ever watch the Home Shopping Network or QVC, they have a really neat way of selling, because what they do is they deal with the objection. But now, mind you, somebody's not coming up to them and saying, oh, that isn't going to work. But they deal with what may be an objection ahead of time. So, for example, they might say, maybe they're selling a pair of jeggings or something, that a lot of women might go, oh, my butt's going to look huge in those, or something like that, right? And they're going to go, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that, you aren't going to look good in these, but let me tell you what, you will. They've got the special stitching and it holds your butt in and whatever, right? They're going to deal with that objection before you even have a chance to verbalize it. You're thinking it and they're already dealing with it, right? So that's kind of what we have to be thinking of, and we need to practice that. So whether you practice with your spouse, if that's weird, you can practice with the coach, but it's really a good idea to practice that verbiage, all right? And you can certainly do that with your upline or whatever, but that was just something I thought was interesting. So, okay, so number 1 objection, if you're talking to someone about becoming a coach, one of the most common objections is, I don't know anyone, right? I don't have any friends. I don't know anyone. I'm new to this town, whatever. Okay? So what you're going to notice in most of these objections, how we deal with them, is using the feel, felt, found method and really pulling in the skill of storytelling. And if you find that you don't have a story related to that specific example or reason, you really want to get good. These 7 reasons or objections are going to come up all the time. So if you don't have a story for one in particular, find one. Okay? Find one from one of our team, find one from, on Sparta or whoever. Okay? So that you can give an example. So what I mean by this, someone tells you, I don't know anyone, I could never be a coach. You could say something like, I'm going to give an example. I was nervous, I know exactly how you feel. My gosh, I was so nervous too. I didn't have a great friend base because I worked from home and we had just moved and I stayed home all the time. So I really didn't have a great friend base either. But what most people have found is that they have a way to take their journey and share it with other people in ways they might not have expected. So sometimes it's taking yourself out of your shell and doing something that you normally don't do, so that, if you want to go out and meet new people, take up some different activities, and that's what I did, so you could say, oh, that's what my friend did. She started going to these different, maybe karate, and she joined a MOPS group at her church, or, and you can mention specifics, whether it's your story or their story, your friend's story. And now there's a lot of a network of people around me. You could use the example of someone who, maybe same thing. They didn't have a lot of friends where they're at, but they developed these online challenges, which is kind of what we do. And they've learned how to develop friendships online so that people are coming to them and they're able to put themselves out there. So it's sort of a way you're not saying, oh, you do know people, because you don't want to put them on the defensive, right? You don't ever want anyone to feel like they have to defend themselves, because immediately, is that a negative or a positive reaction? It's negative, right? You immediately are like, wait, I'm being attacked. So you always want to validate their concern and then say, you know what, I felt the same way, or I know exactly where you're coming from. You know, one of my coaches experienced this, and this is what she found. This is how she overcame that struggle. And then you can share how they did it online. You know, all of a sudden the coach's name escaped me. Mindy, not Lawhorn, Mindy Wender. Mindy Wender. I mean, she lives in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally in the middle of nowhere. And she's one of the top coaches in the network. And she's used the internet. She's kind of gotten out of her comfort zone and reached out to people and done it really well in that way. So that's something you can share. Number 2, this is a big one. I'm not a salesperson. I don't like sales. I don't, whatever might be a spin on that. So you could say what I found was I wasn't selling anyone anything. I was coming across people who had a need just like I did, and I was simply sharing what was working for me and how I was succeeding. And that's true, right? That's not full of it. I mean, we are sharing what's worked for us. And this is something that's so important when you find your niche and figuring out who you're talking to. Your story is going to resonate with those people. And so then you're not selling, you're sharing. And that's why it's not icky. I've not ever really felt icky with Beachbody. I have done other network marketing things and felt icky. That's one of the reasons I've stuck with Beachbody so long, was because I never felt that way. So that's something you can share there. Something else, you could say, I've been doing this all along, in the sense of referring people or recommending things, but I do it for free all the time. I recommend my hairdresser. I recommend movies that I like. I recommend, your favorite mascara. I love Bare Minerals. Seriously, I do. You recommend things you like, products you like. I don't get reimbursed for that, but I still do it. So now I can recommend something that I truly love. I've been drinking Shakeology for 5 years. I am a lifer. If you guys know my story, and it's some of it's weight loss, but some of it's also the digestive problems. I couldn't go to the bathroom but once a week or once every 2 weeks. That is not fun as a young girl, and even as an adult. That is not fun. Shakeology was the only thing that changed that for me. So when I share that with people, I'm excited about it, not to sell it. And that's how I became successful. Even when I was just a discount coach, I was sharing what I was passionate about because it fixed something that I'd struggled with my entire life, And so again, not selling, sharing what's working for you. And in this case, we're lucky enough to get paid for that, right? You don't get paid to recommend, Applebee's or whatever, right? So always tie in those real life stories and what it means to you or someone you know. Okay, number 3, I don't have enough money. And this can be whether it's coaching or it can be, a challenger, okay? So again, I know how you feel. Again, I felt the same way, or one of my friends felt exactly the same way. Here's an example. This is not my story, but this is a story. One of my friends, she's a single mom. She has no child support. She's working 2 jobs, paying for daycare and all the normal fees parents have to pay for. And she found that investing on the front end, even though it was tight, she found that our company has a way to recoup that cost very quickly. And so, it took a quick short investment at the beginning with a certain amount of small activity, like our vital behaviors, a certain amount of activity, and she was able to recoup that cost back because the company's incentive plan was so well thought out. So now she does this full time. So no longer works those 2 jobs, and she does this full time with a full-time income. So that's someone's story. Doesn't have to be your story, but that is somebody's story. Now, something you can share specifically, so take note of this. There are some quick money-making options with Beachbody. There really are. One of the options, of course, is they can become a coach for $39.95. All right? They can make 1 or 2 sales, and boom, they've recouped that cost. Now, that's not the best option of all of them, simply because they're not on any product, and it's going to be hard for them to make a sale if they're not a product of the product. Because again, how can you tell a personal story or have a relationship with a product that means something if you're not doing it yourself, right? It's do as I say, not as I do, and we all know that's not as effective, right? So, but that is an option, and there are successful coaches that started that way with the full intent. As soon as they made some money, they immediately got on the product and it was fine. So I'm not saying that's impossible. It just tends not to work as often, okay, for obvious reasons. Second option, of course, the challenge pack. You know, they're getting their Shakeology, which is a continuity type product. They're on it consistently, and of course a workout. So, you know, say it's a $140 challenge pack, right? The cheapest one. They can get their return on investment or recoup that by selling 2, say, P90X challenge packs or 3 21-day fix challenge packs at the normal price, okay? That would give them between $140 and $150, all right, back. Because P90X, right, it's $205, so the commission is $70. And, of course, with 21-day fix, it's $50 commission with the normal $160 price. So they can sell a couple challenge packs. Boom, they've got their initial cost recovered. Of course, there's things like the club membership where they're getting sort of a money back kind of thing. So when people purchase club memberships, they're getting almost $20 a person. All right, that's a way to look at it. Here's the final option. If they really seriously are like, I have nothing. I can't, there's just no money I'm able to do. Here's some options. You know, sometimes you have to think outside the box. So again, use a story. I mean, I do know of a coach who sold her couch to come into Beachbody and then made money and bought a new couch later. So if they want it bad enough, you know, we have so much excess, don't we? Don't you think there's something in your house that you really don't need that you could sell on Craigslist, or a couple items to get the cost? So you could sell something. If your birthday or Christmas is around the corner, you know, you could ask those special friends or family who you normally know would give you gifts to have them give you the money so that you can put toward this to get your challenge pack. So there's an option. You could borrow it. Heck, if you were coaching and you had someone, you know, you borrowed it from them, you could say, hey, you know, come in and do my challenge group with me, you know. And so when they get their challenge packs, you immediately pay them back for the money they loaned you, right? And then you're helping each other, right? You're helping them reach their goals, and they're helping you by getting your initial sign up in. Of course, there's a credit card option. Some people could do that, and just, again, that incentive to pay it back is there, you know, when you actually have that money invested. So there are some different options that people, if they really want to do it, not having the money is not really an excuse. But again, you don't want to say, oh, you're just giving me an excuse, right? You want to say, hey, let's think outside the box. You know, from 1 to 10, is this something you really want to do? And if they're an 8, 9, 10, then you say, okay, let's get creative, and here are some options. What one sounds like it would work best for you right now? And go from there and explore with them, okay? So that money one, you kind of have some hands-on things that you can share with them. Number 4, I'm too busy. Christine shared her story. She said, you know what? I totally get where you're coming from. I felt the same way and turned down the opportunity the first time I heard it. You know, I had a newborn. I had a 2-year-old. I had a husband who worked 12 hours a day and was gone, you know. And what she found is that it fits inside sort of the nooks and crannies of her day. She basically sprinkled it into her life. And how cool is that, to realize that you could have something so powerful and so big and feel such a need in your life that you can fit into your life. You're not, you know what I mean? You can really, if you're careful, do that. So she said, you know what? I built it into the small moments in my life. I did it on my lunch break. I did it when my kids were in bed or were napping. I did it early in the morning. She said, I even made calls during drive time, you know? And so she made it work, and look how successful she got. So it can definitely be done. That's how she built her business. She was not full-time building her business. She was very much a busy mom part-time. Okay, number 5. I like to chew my meals, or I don't like shakes, right? I don't do shakes, or I don't drink shakes, or I don't want to, drink my meals or whatever.
They don't want to drink their calories.
Yes. So you'll hear versions of that. And something like, that I would say, I hated shakes too. I'm embarrassed to say that I used Slim Fast. I mean, I was totally dependent on them for a long time, trying to figure out something. So I was really skeptical of shakes, period. And I'm the same way. I love food. I want to eat. I want to chew. I want to taste. So,
I had a challenger that developed an allergy to Shakeology, and she quit.
What was does she know what her allergy was to specifically?
I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said she talked to her doctor, and then they backtracked everything she was doing, and they came back to saying that when she started doing Shakeology, that affected her.
Yeah, there was probably something in Shakeology. I mean, I've had customers. I had one particular customer who was allergic to mushrooms, and there are a couple different types of mushrooms in Shakeology, and so she couldn't do it. Does that mean it's unhealthy? No. I mean, people have issues with peanuts, and peanuts aren't unhealthy.
Right.
If it's something you can't take, you can't take. So it would have been nice for them to figure out. It's sometimes doctors just go, oh, that's what it is. Boom. Answer solved, instead of doing the proper testing and figuring out what she is indeed allergic to.
Right. Another person that I gave a sample to, she said that she made her stomach feel really, really bad, and she just didn't want to keep talking to me about Shakeology.
Yeah, and some people too with that is their system's not used to the pre and probiotics, and they have some digestive issues because the Shakeology is trying to work, but they could have impacted bowel. They could have all kinds of issues. And for some people, they need to ease in. They need to ease into it. And some people have weight issues. They try the regular Shakeology and don't understand why they can't digest it. My husband's that way. He can't do the whey. He tried it and he was like, Geraldine, it goes through me like water. He's like, I can't even hold it in for like 10 minutes. He'd kill me for saying that. But he does the vegan, and the vegan has no problem with it. He can't even.
It's the same thing with my mom.
Yep. So, sometimes people, they're not, there's another reason behind it, and they're not willing to really figure it out. But that's okay. I mean, sometimes you just have to love people and where they're at, and just, do your best to just help them. So, but yeah, there's definitely ways you can talk to them through some of those issues, because it could very well be something they can work through if they're patient and willing to do some trial and error for themselves. So, okay. So back to that. So what I found is Beachbody workout programs all come with great meal plans. So we're not encouraging drinking all of your meals. Shakeology, when you're looking at a meal plan, we're looking at anywhere from 4 to 6 meals a day, right? Most of the meal plans are structured similarly in that way. Healthy meals. It's just one shake, right? It's one meal of those 5 or 6 meals a day that we're encouraging you do that. And really, I'm thankful for it, right? To have that quick meal, because that way I'm not going into the cupboard and grabbing a granola bar that I might have gotten for the kids, or heaven forbid chips or something my husband brought home, So it's so easy to veer off and get into that pantry and eat things that are forbidden, right? If they're there, or to go make a veer and stop for, frozen yogurt, which is one of my favorite things. But if I've got a shake, it's such a great option. So something you really want to, say, for me, it's a lifesaver. It saves me, it keeps me prepared. And that's one step towards my goals. Might be a baby step, but it kept me from doing something that would have taken me a step backwards. So again, you're just sharing your thoughts. It's not drinking everything. And if they want to go further, you can share other health benefits with them and so on. You know, this is not all in one message, right? Like this is slowly having a conversation. Number 6, I like to work out in the gym, or I don't like to work out at home. You know what I mean? You might get either angle. So for me, you know, I will tell you, back in like when I first started, it saved my life because I was so embarrassed being over 200 pounds. I was so embarrassed to even go to the gym. I wouldn't do it. I was a hermit. So for me, it really helped me to have that at-home option. Now, once I got into the gym, once I lost the weight and got into the gym, yes, I love the gym, but I still did stuff at home. I still took it on vacation. There were still times where it was such a great thing for me. Or if I wanted that extra workout, I could do something quick and intense and awesome at home and not be in the gym for 3 hours, right? Maybe I wanted to hit something in the morning and then again in the evening, but my goodness, I didn't want to go to the Y twice that day, right? So you can share that story if that's your story, you know? And the thing is too, you really want to share that for those people who love the gym. Beachbody has those top of the line, like intense workouts if they're looking, because sometimes people who go to the gym think that at-home workouts are like Jane Fonda, woohoo, you know? And it's, you know, all about the leotard up the rear end, and that's all it is about, right? That they don't realize that it can be hardcore, awesome stuff. So it depends on who you're talking to. You know, you're not going to share a brand new person that, you know, it's going to be hardcore and tough and P90X all the way, you know. Depends on who you're talking to. But if there's somebody who likes the gym, a lot of times they poo-poo those at-home workouts because they think they're not tough. So you want to share that. Let's see. And then I also like to share when I had kids. You know, there were times at the Y where they were dealing with a lot of illness and stuff going on that I didn't want to take my kids. You know, I wanted them to stay home. And so you can work out at home. So something you can share. And then you can also share that a lot of people will print up workouts from Beachbody or use now Beachbody on demand and do them at the gym, because for some people, they might have a couple of good sets of weights at home, but as they progress, they don't want to go out and buy $50 worth of dumbbells because, you know, obviously the heavier the dumbbells, the more expensive they are. But you can go to the gym and my goodness, they go up to 100-pound dumbbells, right? So you can take your workouts with you to the gym and still have the best of both worlds. So there's ways you can definitely share that. And you know, less than 20% actually use their gym memberships to the fullest, and some even at all. So sometimes somebody might say they go to the gym, but when you really get to talking to them, they're there once a week. Whereas if they had an at-home option that they can do after work or before they go to work, they don't have to wait for a schedule or, you know, a trainer or a certain class, they're more likely to get it done. So those are some different options you can hit with that particular objection. And then go ahead.
You can also say that they save on commuting, save time.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of different angles from that. The commuting, the gas, all kinds of stuff, you know, that they can save on. You know, I used to do my makeup because I taught, you know, and I always wanted to look professional. I didn't want to look like I rolled out of bed. But I'll tell you, I don't do my makeup in the morning now, and I take pictures and post them, and I'm makeup free. So it is nice to be able to get up and just do your workout, you know, and not have to feel like, oh, I got to look somewhat presentable, right? So definitely a time saver there too. Last one, and then we'll clue up. Last one. Is it a pyramid scheme? You could answer this two ways. You could ask them, what's a pyramid scheme? Because sometimes they don't even know what it is, right? It's just the typical immediate knee-jerk response. Well, that's a pyramid scheme, right? Or is it a pyramid scheme? So you could ask them, what do you mean by that? What's a pyramid scheme? Or you could be funny and say, are you looking to join one? You know, and kind of, you know, be funny about it. Kind of depends on the person you're talking to. But one of the things with a pyramid, all right, the way a pyramid works is there's no product, but there is a transfer of money. Now, Beachbody We're all about products, right? That's what we do. And let me ask you this. Do we make money when someone signs up? No, not unless they have volume, not unless they are selling and moving product, right? Not unless there's that business, that buy and sell. Just because someone signs up under us, we don't get incentives just to sign people up hand over fist, right? We just don't. That's not how we're set up. That is a pyramid scheme. We are not a pyramid scheme, okay? There is product transfer, money, product, and it works like that. You have to have volume to get paid, all right? So again, use the feel, felt, found. You know, what you could say is, you know, I kind of thought that too about a pyramid scheme. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. But what I found is it became natural and easy because I was already sharing what was working for me. And I can tell you, this was totally me. I did Mary Kay and I did Premier Designs. Now, those aren't pyramid either. You know, those are still legit. But they felt a little more salesy to me, okay? A little bit more of that selling thing. But what I did find with Beachbody, and I said this earlier, is it felt so easy and natural because it was a product I was using. It was helping me. I loved it. People were asking me what I was doing, what was different, you know? And so that was sort of what got me hooked initially. So, you know, I just shared, hey, I'm doing Turbo Jam. And a year later, I kind of hit this plateau and I started Shakeology and it just worked for me. So, you know, it's so possible because it is a natural business and you're naturally able to help people. You're not just saying, here, buy this, see you later, right? Good luck. No, you're actually wanting to give of yourself and your time and your care and your concern to be there to hold and hold other people up. And so to me, that's just such an awesome thing. And, you know, something just, not that you would say this necessarily, but something just for your minds that I've always thought about is that, you know, we all are in sales and even teachers are in sales. You know, their commodity may not be money, but they are trying to get their students, you know, their attention, their time, and they're trying to share their knowledge. Doctors, you know, they sell themselves, their time, their service. Lawyers, you know, whether it's retail or not, we're all in sales. But I do believe it's our heart and it's how we do what we do. And if we are, you know, we are authentic and we really do care about people, I think it's a completely different ballgame. Does that make sense? You know, so basically, just to conclude, think about our language. Think about how we respond to people. Are we using the feel, felt, found? Are we sharing our stories and being authentic or sharing stories of those we know? Are we making people feel defensive or feel safe and validated? You know, ask them then for more questions. You know, do you have any other questions? I appreciate you asking these questions. You know, let them know that you want to help them clarify this so that they're totally comfortable and able to make an educated decision for themselves. You know, and again, don't you be defensive. Them asking, you know, bringing up objections, this is just part of what we do, you know. And so getting comfortable with those handful of objections and how you handle them just makes you a pro and keeps you calm and able to reach out to people. Yes, To Sell is Human. That's right, Susie. It's by Daniel. I have 2 of his books here. I'll tell you real fast. Audible. To Sell is Human is one. By Daniel H. Pink, P-I-N-K. And Drive is also, and that's kind of motivation. Talks about motivation. So Drive is a good book too. Both of his books are really great. Again, so very easily, you might want to look into, you know, something you could say to people. You might want to look into the coaching program if you love these products. It's a way to get your own products, you know, for free, and you can make some income. Again, not in a salesy way. It comes up naturally in the conversation as people are trying to figure out how this fits into their life. Is it something they can do outright? Is money an issue? If it is, give them options, you know, give them real options and let them know it doesn't matter what they decide. It's up to them. And the more you take it off their plate like it doesn't matter, you're going to do this anyway, you're there to help them, but you're not going to push them, then I think a lot of times they end up coming to you because they know you're not pressuring them, you care about them, and you're giving them real options that they can work with. So that's what I have, you guys. I hope that helps. Know that you probably even have better stories than I do, but just trying to give you some ideas of how you can word some of those things. Did any of you have questions or want to share anything before we finish? Anyone? You're all muted now. You can unmute yourself. No? Are you guys feeling pretty good about the group so far? About our Break Your Rank group?
Yes.
Is there anything in particular because I had some ideas, and because of how everybody was kind of feeling, I've completely started from scratch and revamped. So I'm sort of trying to get a feel for where you're at and what you need at this moment. So is there anything in particular that you would like for me to start pulling more content or sharing, whether it's something from me or something from other coaches? Is there a topic?
Did you hear the national wake-up call this week?
I have not yet, but I will. That's on my docket for tomorrow.
The presenter mentioned something called shake and share, and that is similar to the idea I mentioned when we had the team cup, when we met at your house. Having little gatherings with us and with friends to share the business opportunity, but not only a presentation, but more like a gathering and get to know people.
Yeah, I have done that. I did that, I want to say maybe 2 years ago. And I usually used to do them twice a year. I think because I did so many home party types things that I didn't get into doing that a whole lot. But that's definitely an option. Do you guys know what she's referring to when she says shake and share?
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I said, are you guys, the rest of you guys, familiar with what a shake and share is?
Is that just where you have people over and
you literally put them around your table and you can just make a couple different flavors of shakes. I don't ever sell anything at these. It's just what I would do literally is I would have a couple of computers and my TV set up with different workouts so people could check out some workouts. I had information printed up about my next challenge group, but it was totally, we just sat and chatted, and I had little Dixie cups or shot glasses, and we'd share. I'd make a shake and we'd all taste it, and then I'd make another flavor or another recipe and everyone would taste it. And we just hung out and chatted about it, and people asked me questions and I had information, but there was not one exchange of money. If somebody was interested, I sent them a link and we went from there. But it wasn't people came knowing it was a laid back, check it out, have fun. There was music playing. It was just really relaxed. And that is a fun way if you want to get it out to some of your immediate people. A lot of us do so much now online that's not an option. But if you've got people in your sphere of influence locally that you haven't really talked to, or maybe want them to try it, but you haven't gotten packets to them or whatever, it's a fun way. And it's cheap because you're only using a couple shakes, and you could have 20 people there in one shake, because they're only having tastes. You're not giving everybody a huge shake. But by the end of the night, they've all had probably a shake's worth because they're all trying different things. And, I'd have veggies and fruit, a small veggie tray and a small fruit tray, and I'd make Shakeology balls, and I'd make a couple different shakes. Super easy, 2 hours max, So that's an option if you guys want to check that out. And again, listen to the National Wake Up Call. That's on my schedule for tomorrow. I didn't get it done. I usually don't listen live just because I like to take notes, and I like to be able to stop and pause, and I hate to have to go back and, I got to go back and listen to it again if I haven't, been able to catch everything. So I usually listen to it Tuesday or Wednesday. So we've got
people to come to something like that.
What's that?
How do you get people to come to something like that?
I just send them a message. It's just an event page. And then I also message privately and say, hey, I'm just doing a shake and share. There's nothing going to be sold. It's literally just come check out, try Shakeology. I'm going to make a bunch of different flavors. If you've never tried it, it's a great time to try it. There is absolutely zero obligation. Nothing is for sale. It's just to hang out and ask me questions, and I'll have some workouts there you can check out. Just a fun time. So you can word it how you want. If it's something you want me to share a little bit on, I can do that during this, maybe one of the days this week. I can give you some information and maybe some verbiage for
that would be helpful.
presentation. So if you want to do that, I can definitely do that. Verbiage and ideas. Okay, I will make that a post for you guys. We're about to be shut off in less than a minute. If there's anything else that I've either forgotten or you want me to talk about, make sure you post it on our page. All right? Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.